Shalom Israel. First, I'm going to start by giving all honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rachak Wadash, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai. Double honors unto the elders, apostles, and bishops of GMS Great Millstone who rule well, teach, and edify. And Shalom unto you, elect Akim and Aquad in the house of the faith. My name is Yeshaya. Sit up a little bit. I'm gonna do a video, talking about stay focused. And I got a couple precepts pulled up here on the tablet that I want to go over, to back the point of staying focused. Right? The current world that we live in is a world, a very feel-good world. Right? There's a lot of self-willed people, and it's very easy to unknowingly make the mistakes that the world is doing right now. It's very easy to try to dwell in the mirth that is left in here. But at the end of the day, man, the mirth is ceasing, right? The mirth of this land is ceasing, right? Things aren't how they used to be. People don't act like how they used to act. It's not as enjoyable as it used to be, right? And even then, Esau sells such a good wine and such a good poison, right? That you still kind of like see it, and you may feel enticed to, try to get your serving of it, right? But at the end of the day, all things may be lawful, but unexpedient, not expedient, right? So, some things, it probably behoove you to stay away from, right? You don't know something that you're using could ultimately be your detriment. Like, things like that P-Hub, things like alcohol, things like clubbing, doing that too much, man. Things like women, especially women have been the fall of many men. Things that you do it to feel good, and that's the only thing that you do it for. They're completely fruitless. Most of the things that this flesh desires, it desires it on a very quick basis. Like when you eat a very good meal that is not good for you, like a bowl of cereal. A bowl of cereal is unexpedient as fuck. There's nothing in it. There's no nutrients. It's just fucking empty carbs. Or like a bottle of beer. It's an instant, nice little, Band-Aid to your flesh. It feels good. Neurologically, your body seeks things like that. Your body seeks comfort. That's the type of chains of darkness that we are held in at the current moment, man. But the Lord has instructed us to mortify you, therefore, your members, right? And it's easy to break focus if you're, tipping the scale too far to the wrong direction, right? So just people like this, man. Say you go on a diet and you tip the scale too over righteous, and now you're not eating no food. And like, oh shit, I done lost 10, 15 pounds in about 2 weeks. All right, cool. 2 weeks later, you put on 20 pounds back because you crashed, a crash diet. Say, you tip the scale too far this way. All right, oh man, I don't even need a diet, man. I just like eating food and shit like that. That's my thing. You just gained 50 pounds, brother. And something I find funny too is a while back I was watching a video from a live stream from Apostle Tahar, and he keeps it real with brothers. And this is a small thing that I noticed. A brother walked up to greet the apostle. He says, "You getting fat, brother? You know what I mean?" And you don't say that with a hateful spirit, but it's just like, hey. And that's why it's good to dwell around righteous men, that see those changes in you, that see those things, because it's not necessarily just about getting fat. It's about the things that come behind getting fat. What's going on, man? Are you doing all right, brother? Because most of the time, there's a very nice quote that I've been stuck on lately. It's a man who lacks purpose distracts himself with pleasures, right? So if a man who lacks purpose, and a lot of times in the world they'll talk about this hole, this void, and people who oftentimes want to feel better about themselves or want to try to fill that void with things that instantly feel good, right? And that's why you have the many different avenues that Esau Edom Salakia that Esau Edom, the wicked, has put into people's plates. You know, you got things like hookup culture, that one night stand shit. That's off, bro. You know, getting on a woman you ain't even vetted out. You ain't even courted her. You don't know what the fuck she got going on. You don't know she could be a fucking man, right? And drinking, alcoholism, casual drinking, you know, like, you know, day drinking and shit like that. And at the end of the day, brothers, know, you know, as you progress in the spirit, you're going to know how to balance these things better. So you might see a brother that be having a lot of women, but guess what, man? Behind the scenes, that brother's operating on a high level in the spirit. Right? He's operating on a high level in the spirit because that's the thing that you must if you're a man that uses those types of things, right? But check it. I got Matthew 6. I'm gonna go straight to 33. It says, "But seek the kingdom of Yahweh Shem Yahushua and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you." Right? So seek the kingdom. That's our goal. That's what we want to achieve, is the kingdom. Right? Going up to Matthew 6 and 24. It reads, "No man can serve two masters." Right? So what are you trying to serve? Are you trying to serve the flesh, or are you trying to serve Yahweh Shem Yahushua? When you serve Yahweh Shem Yahushua, you have to offer your body as a living sacrifice unto the Lord. And a lot of these things that you do now, you are not going to be able to do as you progress in the spirit at a higher level. Right? You have to level up. You have to go up. This is not a thing where you stay stagnant and you stay on the same level the entire time that you're in this thing. You level up in the spirit, and at certain, you know, levels, things just seem less appetizing to you. You know, you might have got a brother that came into the truth and he used to love music. He used to bump music like a motherfucker, man. Just boom, like all the time. You see that brother with some earphones or some headphones. But then sometime down the line, that brother's like, man, I ain't gonna lie, I can only listen to fucking classical music. You know, so-fi music, you know, study music. I can't even listen to this shit no more. You know, and that's an example of brothers leveling up in the spirit, where you have that even deeper disdain towards the Lord, because the scriptures tell you, love ye not the world, neither the things that are in the world. And that includes music. That includes, you know, fucking just the things that are in the world that are just, it's just not right, man. You know, and music's one of those things that I like to bring up, because you know, when I first came into truth, man, I used to be a music head. I used to really be bumping music all the time. But as time's going on and the Lord's dealing with bros on a higher level, you know, I'm starting to not fucking like it. You know, like I'm starting to listen to it and I'm just like, it's just not fucking hitting right, man. It don't even sound right. Bro's been listening to classical music more often, man. But and it says let's go ahead and get Proverbs 16 and 3. And I'll start actually at we'll go to 16 and 2, where it says, all the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes, but the Lord Yahweh weigheth the spirit. Right? So, you know, the scriptures tell you in Luke, you know, he that contamineth little things shall fall little by little, roughly paraphrasing. So when you pay attention to the little details, you know, you're able to get shit out of the way. But, you know, the Lord's got to give you the spirit to do that. But not only that, ways of man are clean into his own eyes. There could be shit that you're doing that you don't know is destroying you. Right? And that's why you got to pray to the Lord to have that revealed unto you, to be humbled, you know, and to walk that right path, man, to stay focused. Because sometimes you might think that whatever it is thing that you're doing, you're balancing it right, but it turns out you weren't balancing it right. You know, a lot of the times, bro, whenever a person is oppressed, they, you know, some people don't know that how truly oppressed they were until they were in a good state. Look at children who were born into fucked up households. They never thought their household was as bad as it was until they were, you know, in a different place. And they started connecting the things like, wow, I was actually in a pretty bad place. Like I was actually in a pretty fucking horrible place. Look at a person, I don't know who's ill health, like, you know, vitamin deficient or something like that. You know, and then they start getting vitamins. They never understood, like, oh shit, like I didn't know I could feel this good. Like I didn't know I could be this where that. So a man's, you know, the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes. You know, that's why the scriptures say the heart is deceitful above all things. The mind is deceitful above all things, man. You could be tricking yourself into thinking that you're doing the right thing, but turns out that actually wasn't. And that's why you see bros change over the years, man. certain things get purged out, that old man truly getting purged out, right? Because what does the scripture say in John 3:3? Lest ye be reborn, you cannot see the kingdom of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, roughly paraphrasing. You cannot see the kingdom lest you be reborn, man. And that's through this truth, man. That's putting on that purity, man. Verse 3, commit thy works unto Yahweh, and thy thoughts shall be established. So, when you stay in focus and you're committing your works unto the Lord, then your thoughts shall be established. That's when you start thinking on a high level, man. When you start actually doing, being a doer. That's what the scripture say in James. Right? Be ye doers, right? But from there, I'm going to get 2 Timothy 2:15. And I'll start, right there. It says, study to show thyself approved to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. So when it comes down to that, man, study to show thyself approved of the Lord, right? And then comparing that back to Proverbs, it says, then thy thoughts shall be established, And I'm saying all this to just recognize that you've got flaws that got to be purged out. We're not perfect in this flesh, man. No man. Right, but we're trying to put on that purity too, man. We're trying to achieve that, and truly we'll achieve that in the kingdom. But in this world, in this flesh, in his life that we live now, it is impossible to hold this law to 100%, man. Right, it is impossible, right? But at the end of the day, you should try your very best and try to purge out as much as you can, right? And the Lord sees those things, right? Because the Lord forgets not thy labor of love, man. You get blessed for those type of things, so just, Yahweh Tazah, take that take that as food for thought, but hey, I think that's all I want to get on that. But Yahweh Tazah, this lesson was edifying. Lastly, all honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Chak Wadash, Shalom.